We achieved more in 6 months than almost any administration could accomplish in 8 years, and we're going to have a lot of good 6 months left. We're going to have a 6 and another 6 and another 6, so we'll keep going, and we're going to really do something.
So we're going to have a 6 and another 6 and another 6, so we'll keep going.
All right, you guys. So you follow me because I'm all about truth. We always want to get down to the bottom, to the nitty gritty. We want to find out what's really going on, right? As truth seekers, that's what it's all about, right? Okay, rule of thumb, if you can't question something, it's propaganda. That is a fact. If you cannot ask the questions, or people want to shut you down when you do ask the questions, that means it's propaganda. Where I draw the line is anybody who is hurting children. This account has grown so much because I'm all about protecting the innocents and the voiceless. Today, having the Epstein case completely closed without anybody paying any consequences said all I need to know. It's insane. Anybody that protects people who hurt children, or people, they're just as bad as the people who are hurting the children themselves, because they're indirectly allowing it and they've been compromised. And I don't care what side you are, left, right, middle, if you are protecting people who have or are currently hurting children, I'm not with that at all. I've been MAGA for years, but this is just so eye-opening. And I know I'm gonna probably get a lot of hate from different people, but if you really claim to be a truth seeker and you really are, no more of the 5D, 9D chess, this is a chess move. No, it's not, bro. It's not. The jig is up. You guys need to wake up. Understand, I know I'd held on as long as I possibly could. People say, well, I'd rather live in a Trump, administration than Kamala. I agree with that. But to what degree? You know what I mean? At a certain point, it's yeah, I hear that, and I want to have my rights as long as I can and hold on to that as long as possible, and I'd rather be in Trump than Kamala. But at the end of the day, he's protecting people who are hurting children, bro. Not okay. I got a clip for you guys to watch, and it will just kind of show you who this man is.
I'll tell you, there is something that I wanted to say, because I was very honored, very, very honored, when I heard that President Bill Clinton and Secretary Hillary Clinton was coming today, and I think it's appropriate to say, and I'd like you to stand up. I'd like you to stand up. And honestly, there's nothing more I can say, because I have a lot of respect for those two people. So thank you all for being here. And we're going to have 4 great years, hopefully, of peace and prosperity. We'll be working very, very hard. Our cabinet's lined up and ready. I know eventually Chuck's going to approve them, I'm sure. I really believe that. And we're all dealing together. We all want the same thing. We're all good people. Whether you're a Republican or Democrat, doesn't make any difference. We're going to get along.
Well, I think her history is far from being over. I'd like to answer that question in another 15 years from now. I think she's going to go down at a minimum as a great senator. I think she is a great wife to a president. And I think Bill Clinton was a great president. You look at the country then. The economy was doing great. Look at what happened during the Clinton years. We had no war. The economy was doing great. Everybody was happy. A lot of people hated him because they were jealous as hell. People get jealous and they hate you. People don't like him because they're jealous of him. But Bill Clinton was a great president. I hope we can be so lucky in terms of the economy and in terms of other aspects. We weren't in wars with two nations. I'm not blaming Afghanistan, by the way, is probably a place that we should be. Iraq, we shouldn't be. Bill Clinton was a great president. Hillary Clinton is a great woman and a good woman.
You said of Hillary Clinton that she was, quote, pretty badly abused during her presidential campaign. Why did you say that?
I thought that they roughed her up pretty good. I think she's a wonderful woman. I think that she's a little bit misunderstood. Hillary's a very smart woman, very tough woman. That's fine. But she's also a very nice person. And I know Hillary, and I know her husband very well. They're fine people. I thought, and part of that is a rough political battle. I thought she was roughed up. I thought she, and I'm not knocking the other side, you know, you want to win a battle, so if it gets a little bit nasty, it is politics, and politics is a tough game. But I thought she was perhaps unnecessarily roughed up. She took some pretty hard hits. Well, first of all, I know her very well, and I know her husband very well, and I like them both. And they are, just really terrific people. I like them both very much, but I think you'll be looking at the record of Hillary Clinton and how did she do as Secretary of State, probably above and beyond everybody else and everything else. You'll be looking at her record, and everybody else will be looking at her record. I don't know that Benghazi, it doesn't seem to have resonated like perhaps it should have, but many other things have come up, and the world is in turmoil. And I think that a lot of people will be looking at Hillary's record as Secretary of State, and she will be defending that record, and I'm sure she'll do a good job of defending it, but that will be the thing they will be going for.
But you like Mrs. Clinton, too. I mean, in your book, The Art of the Comeback, you say of Mrs. Clinton, she's a wonderful woman who's handled pressure incredibly well.
I agree with that. I think she's gone through terrible times. I think she's been through more than any woman should have to bear, everything public. I mean, women go through this on a private basis and can't take it. She's on the front page of every newspaper every week with what went on in Washington. I think she's a wonderful woman.
Is she qualified? Is she qualified to be senator?
I think she is. I mean, I think, frankly, that if she ran from another state, I think I'd support her because she's really a very terrific woman. I know her. She stays in Trump Tower when she's in New York. I mean, she stays in Trump Tower. Not because of me, but because of somebody else.
That in and of itself is a qualification.
So, at least she has good taste.
She doesn't quit. She doesn't give up. I respect that.
Any comments on the alleged allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein? No.
If you're blue, you don't know where to go to. Why don't you go? Fashion sits, putting on the ritz. Different types, wear a day, go pants with stripes, and cut away, go perfect fits, putting on the ritz. Wear a day, go pants with stripes, cut away, go perfect fits, putting on the ritz. Hey! Come on! Are you ready? Let's swing it! You got it! Hey! Let's go!
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
Vampires. The homeless nocturna. The hunters, see. Moving from one city to the next, tracking their migrations. They're hard to kill.
I talk to guys who are actively consuming blood to live. You know, I'm trying to
because they're active vampires.
They're real vampires.
Yeah.
Like they're not human.
Yeah.
They're not. They also are carrying a completely different set of genetics that's not from man. This is the sons of the fallen still exist here, and some of them just have bastard sons that don't know who they are. Many of them. This is why 23andMe and Ancestry.com gets billions of dollars from Mormons and from secret societies to finance the collection force of looking for their sons. They're looking for their children. They're terrain mapping the environment before they harvest us. That's what they're looking for. There is a path of deliverance and redemption for anything that desires forgiveness, that desires to be in a covenant with the Creator, Yahuwah. They can have that relationship back with Him no matter what you've done, no matter what you've been through, no matter what's happened to you. There is a path of salvation because the blood of the Lamb, the words of our testimony, are the most powerful weapons that we have been given as soon as we are set free from the fear of death and holding on to our lives. I had to be willing to let go of what I was promised. I went through hell over and over and over and over and over again. I watched my family and children who were completely innocent be desecrated. And I watched the people that did it grow in power and praise and get presidential nominations.
One of the photos that K-File found confirms that Epstein actually attended Donald Trump's wedding to Marla Maples. And this is the proof. Again, this has never been published before, so this is a new image. You haven't seen it out there on X or anything like that. This is the proof that Epstein attended Trump's wedding at the Plaza Hotel in New York. And in the photo, what you see is Epstein entering the Plaza Hotel. The wedding date of this is December 20th, 1993, in the center of their friendship, which of course continued. And for comparison, we'll show you on the right a photo of Trump and Marla Maples at the same location under the entryway arch. Andrew Kaczynski of K-File is here with the new images of Trump and Epstein. And Andrew, I shared one of them there, but, so let's start with the one at Trump's wedding. I mean, this is a significant development.
Well, yeah, it is. Trump's wedding to Marla Maples in 1993 was dubbed the wedding of the century by the media at the time. And although we know that Trump and Epstein were friends during this period, this is really the first time that it's actually been reported that Trump invited Epstein to his wedding. This is, we should note, more than a decade before those first allegations of sex trafficking against Epstein. But as you know, Trump's relationship with Epstein has been under the microscope recently. Now, besides that one photo of Epstein entering the reception at the Plaza Hotel, we can also see him in the background of another picture. That's Howard Stern on the far right, along with Robin Leach from Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And Epstein is behind them at the wedding, almost seeming to be photobombing them. We also found this photo from just a few months earlier. Donald Trump with two of his children talking to Jeffrey Epstein. That's at the opening of the Harley-Davidson Cafe in New York in October 1993. You can see Ivana there. She would have been just about to turn 12 years old in that photo.
Yeah, you can see Ivanka right there between Trump and Epstein. All right, these are never before seen photos, Andrew. I know you also found some video of Trump and Epstein that was from later of them talking that has also never surfaced before. What's that?
Well, that's right. This is from 6 years later in 1999. This video has never been seen before in this context. It shows Trump talking to Jeffrey Epstein just before models hit the runway at the Victoria's Secret fashion show in New York in 1999. You know, the only other video we've seen of the two men was 7 years before this. Trump is at the show with Melania, who is, of course, now First Lady, seated a few feet away from Epstein. You can see them chatting during the show as well. Allegations that Epstein sexually abused underage girls didn't surface until 2005, years after this video was shot.
Right, but this, of course, establishes them together and obviously very friendly in 1999. So, Andrew, when you get all this, and all of this, as I just want to emphasize, right, has not been seen before. So you actually called President Trump. You called him directly to ask him about this.
Yeah, we were not on the phone very long. I think our call was about 30 seconds or so. But when I asked him about the wedding photo, he said, he sort of paused for a second and then said, "You've got to be kidding me," before calling CNN fake news and then hanging up on me. Now, in a statement to CNN, White House Communications Director Stephen Chung said this. He said these are nothing more than out-of-context frame grabs of innocuous videos and pictures of widely attended events to disgustingly infer something nefarious. The fact is that the president kicked him out of his club for being a, quote, creep.
All right. Well, it is incredible reporting, and it is important in this context as the country wants, answers on everything to do with Epstein. Andrew, thank you so much for all of that breaking news.
Welcome to the Bridgewater Triangle Explorer. The purpose of this video is really just to ask the question, what are they? The people that are running this country, running this world, are they fallen angels? Are they vampires? Are they reptilians? Are they vampires that are under the control of fallen angels? Are they reptilians that are under the control of fallen angels? Is it a combination of all three? Because when you watch the rest of this video, you will be left with only one conclusion. And that is that the people who are controlling our world and the government of the United States cannot possibly be human. Okay? And, I really don't know what else to say. I was going to go into specific details about how there's all this evidence that, Mr. T was working with the Rothschilds for years. They bailed him out. They gave him like $25 billion, and he's been paying off that debt ever since. There's tons of evidence that he's covering for, the deep state. He's not arresting the deep state. He's actually bailing them out of jail. Literally, Ghislaine Maxwell is getting put into basically a summer camp, minimum security. We'll call it a prison, but it's not even a prison. So there's no point in going through. The evidence now is overwhelming. I mean, it's smacking everyone in the face now that no one's coming to save us. Okay? And we have to save ourselves and just pray. But I really made this video because I am now really just down to that question. Not who they are, not who the bad guys are, but what they are. And at first I thought reptilians, but now I hear all these, victims coming out talking about, lots of blood drinking happening. I hope that doesn't get me banned. The fact that they're poisoning our food and they're altering our DNA and all that horrible stuff. And most of them are in their 70s or 80s and they're still hell-bent on destroying the world. That's not a typical human reaction to aging, okay? There's a motivation behind this that goes far beyond money, greed, or power. So, again, just finish watching this video and then please comment and let me know what you think. I'm gonna actually do a poll. Are they fallen angels? Are they vampires? Are they reptilians? Or is it all of the above? Okay, let's watch this ridiculous clip by Alex Jones next, where he acts like he's just so upset that Trump is defending, Mr. Jeffrey, that he feels like he needs to vomit. And I'll tell you right now, if anyone believes that he's not acting, you really have a lot of thinking to do, because they are trying to fool us big time. I mean, they're pulling out all the stops here to make us think that there's this divide, right? There's like these, patriotic truth tellers that are, just trying to get to the bottom of what's going on, and they're telling us the truth. They're not. They're working with them, just leading us further down into these different rabbit holes to get us away from the reality, which is we are being led straight into the New World Order. Okay, that's martial law, and they're going to control our water and our food supply next. I'm pretty sure it's happening within the next year. And once they go digital currency, that's it. It's game over. And Mr. T is driving us right into a CBDC type of a system. Don't be fooled by the term Bitcoin. Bitcoin is CBDC. But anyway, let's watch this ridiculous video with Alex Jones pretending he's just so upset at Trump that he feels like he needs to vomit. What a joke. Unbelievable. Okay, here we go.
Now, by coming in and being part of the cover-up, the Trump administration has become part of it. I mean, it's just, you cannot see it any other way. So I just got to the office. I'm going to go throw up, actually. And this only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. It's because I have integrity. And, I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out. And
if anyone thinks that Alex Jones was not acting, please leave a comment on this video. I would love to hear why you think he was not acting for that ridiculous little charade we just saw.
It's been shot. Either that or they're covering. We don't know. Either that or they're covering it. We love you. We love you, President Trump. We love you. We love you, President Trump. We love you. Yes. 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 We love you, President Trump. No. Oh, no shot. Could just be his ear. It could just be his ear. He's walking. We did it. Dude, that's fucking wild.
And I'm hearing that this was the only Trump rally where the leftist media showed up. Just to tape it live, you know? Not like they were expecting anything.
Okay, this is probably one of the most disturbing things I've seen in a while. The Genius Act of 2025, backed by the Trump administration, is drawing sharp criticism for what opponents say amounts to a massive federal power grab disguised as financial innovation. This act would create a stablecoin, a government-regulated digital dollar, which critics argue functions as a central bank digital currency, CBDC, in all but name. Despite Trump's earlier pledge to ban CBDCs, the legislation allows the governments to freeze or block digital funds of any individual deemed in violation of federal or state agency rules, including executive mandates like previous vaccine requirements. Detractors argue this could lead to the confiscation of personal assets without due process and enable broad financial surveillance of American citizens. Critics like Bitcoin magazine editor Mark Goodwin and former HUD official Catherine Austin Fitts claim the stablecoin system is part of a broader control grid being rapidly deployed. This includes AI-run Stargate data centers, facial recognition, ID systems, and social credit-style surveillance akin to China's authoritarian model. Opponents warn that together, these technologies will allow the federal government to monitor every financial transaction and movement, violating Fourth Amendment protections. While Trump has promoted the Genius Act as part of his America First agenda, skeptics argue it represents an unprecedented threat to constitutional freedoms and personal privacy. We got problems here. We got problems. All I can say is my advice is if you have a mortgage, sell your property. Buy something mobile like an RV, find a camp or find a place where you can kind of live kind of off the grid. I mean, honestly, that's going to be the only way you're going to survive what's coming, because they are getting ready to make it very difficult to be part of society without doing what they want us to do. We all know what that is. And again, I don't know what the ultimate ulterior motive is behind this. I'm thinking it has something to do with transhumanism, getting everyone to be to changing our DNA so that we're no longer our own sovereign citizen and we're the property of the government. I don't know, but anyway, if you got a mortgage, start thinking about finding a way to get out of that situation, because if you don't do what they want, they will freeze your bank account, and then it's just a matter of time before they seize your property.
If they start requiring digital ID to use the internet, what are you going to do? Think about it. YouTube, Google, Spotify, maybe even email. If they tie it all to a digital ID and you refuse, you're locked out. But here's the thing, we still have time. The internet wasn't built by big tech, and we don't have to let them own it. Start here. Ditch Gmail for Proton Mail or Tutanota. Use Brave, Tor, or LibreWolf to browse. Switch to Odyssey instead of YouTube. Back up your files on Nextcloud, not Google Drive. They want compliance through convenience, but privacy and freedom are still options if you take them. If we all start migrating now, we weaken their grip. The more people who resist, the harder it is for them to enforce it. Tag someone who still thinks this is a conspiracy. Show them we're building solutions.
Did you fall for it? You did, didn't you? You actually believe that they're feuding for real. Really? 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 These two guys just happen to be fighting over the big, beautiful bill. That's right, the big, beautiful bill. That's right, the big, beautiful bill. Do you know what that also kind of looks like if you're not thinking letters, but numbers? How about now? Do you see it now? The BBB is a nice cover for the 666. Oh, and they just happen to be feuding on it on 6/6 at 7 o'clock Eastern or 6 o'clock Central. So June 6th, the 6th month, on the 6th day at 6 o'clock. Oh, and BBB. B is the second letter of the alphabet, so 222, which also adds to 6. Do you remember the number you used to have to text for Team T? 88022, or 88 minus 22. Can you do the math? Oh, and do you know where the Don happens to live? That's right. On the 66th floor of TT. That's right. Before the W house, they lived on the 66th floor. Right there. And you know what else he had in that 66th floor apartment? He had a nice little marbled statue of Apollo. Apollo, who also could be known as Abaddon. Apollyon is also known as Abaddon, and you know where else they talk about Abaddon and Apollyon? Revelation 9:11, they were ruled by a king, and his name was Abaddon, also Apollyon. Revelation 9:11, he was the 45th and the 47th president. 4 plus 5 is 9, 4 plus 7 is 11. 9/11. But I have news for you guys. They don't worship those guys. They are those guys. And they tell you with their 666 symbolism. There too. 666. And they're just laughing at you that you believe that they are feuding instead of in cahoots. And it's all part of a plan. The plan to get you to worship him instead of the Heavenly Father. And hey, there was a book written about Revelation 9:11, the Angel of the Abyss. And does he look like anyone to you? It kind of looks like this guy to me, who also kind of looks like this guy to me. And if you're still a fan of either of these guys, well, they have you exactly where they want you. Exactly where they want you. They're in it together. And they even know. He knows his rockets are fake just like I know they're fake. And he even tells us, check this out.
Conservatives, why do you think this man, what he's done in American life, has been so politicized? Does it
Well, his life has been amazing. I mean, I look at so many different things. I look at that rocket being, guided back into position. I've never seen that before. I thought it was a space movie. I thought it was a movie. You look at what position. I've never seen that before. I thought it was a space movie. I thought it was a movie. I thought it was a space movie. I thought it was a movie.
And before I leave you, remember when I said that they don't worship these people, they are these people? And by these people, I don't mean people. I mean angels, fallen angels. The angel of the bottomless pit, Abaddon. Remember that? I said they don't worship them, they are them. Well, let's look at this list of angels' names. Do you know what a lot of them end in? E-L, 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 E-L. Well, I just thought I'd point something out to you. Elvis, L-on. And yeah, it's Donald, but try to say Donald and Donnell differently. It's the same. Donnell, L-on, Elvis. And maybe you're completely lost why I keep bringing up Elvis. Well, do you know the Statue of Liberty had an original face? And that was it. And maybe you don't know who the Statue of Liberty is. Well, if you haven't gone down that rabbit hole, I really recommend you do. And if the Statue of Liberty is who I'm saying, and Elvis is who I'm saying, then it doesn't take a genius to connect the dots from A to B to C. And well, if you can't see after this, well, then you're just never going to see. And you're going to believe so deeply that Trump is the savior. Well, you're just going to be duped. But of course, all this for entertainment purposes. I don't really believe fallen angels are down here manipulating our reality to get us to worship anyone but the Heavenly Father. No, that's preposterous. Entertainment only.
This is a picture of Barack Obama at summer camp, Interlochen summer camp, and directly above him is Jeffrey Epstein. Now, why is that interesting? Because those aren't the only two famous politicians, famous people that went to this summer camp with Barack Obama. These people all grew up together. Okay, there's also Bill Barr, Jim Jordan, and John Podesta. So I find it a little interesting when people say, oh, we live in a free country. You know, we get to pick our presidents. We choose who we want to lead us. Yeah, chances are we don't. I mean, let's dive a little deeper into Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein's wife is Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell's father is Robert Maxwell. Robert Maxwell owns a printing press called Pergamont Press, which is where, in America, we get all of our school books from, all of our learning from from him. So, wow, isn't that just weird? Why are we getting our school books from Mossad agents? All right, we need to start opening our eyes and connecting the dots. These politicians are not here for you. They're here for themselves, and they're here for their mission that they're on. And their mission is not to better you. It's not to make your life better or easier. It's not so that you can become enlightened. They don't care about you, okay? This, ladies and gentlemen, looks a lot like a CIA type picture. You know, all the boys hanging out at the CIA summer camp. I mean, that's just my opinion, but give me a break. These people were friends as children. All right, they all grow up in it. They all grow up together. It's all intertwined, and none of them are here for you. This is why there are two giant fasci as a backdrop for the House of Representatives. Remember that.
This human right here, the fittest flat earther, has just released a video in his subscriber-only section that I think is truly going to break the internet, and I want to help this guy out because I've done so much digging into this that I think I've got perfect evidence that they put truth in plain sight about this scenario right here. So stick with me with this one, guys, because I think this is fucking mind-blowing. But let me give you a little overrun of what this guy has basically just proved in his subscriber-only chat. Like, it goes without question, we all know who this guy is right here, don't we? So he's basically saying that this guy is also this guy, who are all being played by this guy right here, who is actually this guy's father. So basically, like, this guy's father used to be this guy, apparently. I know it sounds crazy, but just check out my evidence and let me know at the end if you think it's still crazy. Let's start with the fact that the number 88 literally means a white supremacist numerical code for this, because H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. Now, we all remember when Trump was first running for presidency and his voting code was literally 88, don't we? Well, I've done some massive digging, and this number seems to come up all over this guy's life. Check this out. Let's start with the fact that 1988 was literally published as the year of Trump. His gematria coding is literally 88, and his full name is literally 888. Poll: 88% of Trump supporters appear to falsely believe Biden didn't legitimately win. The 88 reasons Trump is unfit to serve as president, according to an official Democrats resolution. A nice little post that he posted of his 88% of job approvals. But what about the famous Trump baseball that is literally sold for $88? Or the fact that Trump was up 88% in his first 30 days? He was also charged with 88 felonies. And of course, Trump reveals endorsements of 88 military officials. Now, if that's not clear truth in plain sight to celebrate this number and the meaning behind it that could possibly be his father, then I don't know what is. But maybe it brings a whole new meaning as to why this guy saluted this in Trump's inauguration not too long ago. But obviously, guys, this was just for entertainment. I'm just a satire account. And Tyler, I hope this helps your case, brother. Much love, and I'm as fictional as a dinosaur, baby.
The Washington Post has stunning new details today on Ghislaine Maxwell's new accommodations. They follow her cooperation with the Justice Department at the Bryan Federal Prison Camp, a minimum security facility in Texas that resembles a college campus much more than what you would think a prison looks like. From that piece, quote, "Someone gave special preference to Maxwell that, to my knowledge, no other inmate currently in the Federal Bureau of Prisons has received." That's according to Robert Hood, a former warden of the Florence Supermax prison in Colorado, home to some of the world's most notorious criminals, and on the opposite end of the security spectrum from Bryan. Quote, "It is a country club," Hood said, of the camp about 100 miles northwest of Houston. "Inmates, if they have a sex offense, are not going to a place like that, period. It is truly unheard of," end quote. That alone, enough to make one's blood boil. just reading those quotes, but to actually hear one of Jeffrey Epstein's accusers address Maxwell's recent special treatment is something else entirely. So watch.
How does that make you feel?
Obviously not really good. Sorry. I'm extremely upset. I'm angry. I'm disgusted. To be denied your innocence, denied your justice, and then to have your healing taken away from you without any consent, it really feels like a part of me is dying inside. Ghislaine Maxwell doesn't deserve any mercy. She doesn't deserve any grace. She deserves nothing. To be clear, Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for her counts of child exploitation and trafficking. Why would anybody give somebody like her, who is a monster and a liar, a time of day to explain anything? She doesn't know anything, and if she did, she would have already had the opportunity to speak. That opportunity has passed.
Sure. Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the staff?
Yeah, sure.
Could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is that. I mean, there's.
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school. We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game. That's why you don't have a Black Book. Or the
but the Black Book, it's not just sitting. I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on day one. Roll out the Black Book.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get... I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
I am Jeff Epstein's niece. But Bill was on the flight logs because he went to the island. He also went to many, many other places where me and other children were present. With my experiences, I believe he wanted to talk more about the other parties involved. And I know he didn't kill himself. I'm not sure whether they let him go and get plastic surgery and flee the country, or if they did kill him. But I do believe he was a pawn, and that his story blew up in the media to keep people from looking beyond him. If Jeffrey was the one villain in charge of it, then, oh, he's dead, it's all over, everything's good now. MK Ultra is the practice of creating slaves with a severed memory, many of whom were my siblings, who I only got to see at family reunion, who I would rush home from school to watch on TV. I moved back to New York City because my ex-husband had a scheme to try to allow me to speak about some of this in court, since court testimony can be used as evidence to potentially open up a criminal case. But when I got to the hearing, I was only allowed to say my name and address, and the judge refused to let me speak beyond that. When we had gone to the FBI a couple years ago, they interviewed my father and said, "Oh, he said nothing happened, so we're going to close this case." If every successful politician is born into this world, they have vested interest in keeping it quiet. The cult of Baal, B-A-L. My family masqueraded themselves as Jewish publicly, but behind closed doors, you know, at Passover dinners, when I was drugged, would admit, we are Satanists.
So what we just watched was the trailer for this whole interview of the niece of Mr. Jeffrey E. And I suggest you guys watch the whole thing. It's fascinating. Now, do I trust her 100%? No, but a lot of the things that she's saying is something we kind of already know to be true. She's just reaffirming it. And, you know, they always tell us, 90% truth or 99% truth and 1% misinformation. So I'll take the 99% truth that she said and throw out what's false. So definitely check that out if you have time. It was too long to include in this video. And then finally, we're going to watch a series of 3 videos by a great content creator who I do trust. His name is The Fittest Flat Earther. You probably have seen his videos on Instagram, and he's also on YouTube now. Definitely recommend his channels. And, he's basically proving some threories that are going to seem very far-fetched, but just give it a chance. He does provide evidence for these things to be true. And, remember one thing. Every single U.S. president, okay, except for one, and that one is Martin Van Buren. But every single president besides Martin Van Buren are all related to King John of England, the signer of the Magna Carta. I mean, they're all of the same bloodline. So this is a battle between bloodlines. That's who the elite are. They're not the same as us. They're not forged of the same steel that we are, so to speak. Okay, they have a different set of genes. And they're hell-bent on controlling us, enslaving us, and destroying us. But anyway, let's check out these next 3 videos by The Fittest Flat Earther. Okay, here we go.
You know how they like to tell us the truth right in plain sight, right? Well, let's see if you can follow along with this truth right in plain sight. Before we get there, let's start off with this. You know that he is the 45th and the 47th president, right? The 45th and the 47th. And why do I talk about that? Why do I bring this into the picture? Well, because I think that's part of it being right in plain sight. The 45th and the 47th just happens to be 9 and 11. And well, we all know what happened on 9/11, but that's not the 9/11 I'm talking about. No, I'm talking about the biblical 9/11, specifically Revelation 9/11, that reads, "They are ruled by a king, the angel of the abyss. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon," or I couldn't help notice that it was Abaddon. And in Greek, it's Apollyon. So the guy that just happens to be the 45th and the 47th president, which adds to 9/11, who likes to refer to himself as a king,
I want to share with our viewers something the president posted, Ed. It's a message that reads in part, quote, "Long live the king." And this is after he ended New York's congestion pricing.
So the 45th and the 47th president, which adds to 9/11 and refers to himself as the king. And Revelation 9/11 just happens to talk about the king, whose name is Abaddon, and the guy who just happens to have a penthouse on the 66th floor has some interesting things in that penthouse. Interesting things like a statue of Apollo. You see, Trump sees himself in the mold of Apollo, Zeus's son, and one of the most powerful of all the gods. So the guy who is the 45th and the 47th president, which adds to 9/11. 9/11, which talks about Abaddon and Apollyon, and he just happens to have a statue of Apollo in his 66th floor penthouse. And two, if you wanted to stand with him and vote for him, you dialed 88-22 or 66. And we're a few short verses after Revelation 9/11 comes Revelation 13, where it talks about the allegiance of the oppressive system and the mark of the beast, and it being the number 666. And just a few short verses later in Revelation, we get to, "He laid hold the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. That old serpent, which is the devil." Kind of reminds me of that serpent in the Garden of Eden. You know, the one that offered Eve the forbidden fruit that is often depicted as an apple. You know, the one that he's depicted with on his first ever book. When speaking of Apple, I couldn't help but put the two and two together. The first Apple computer was sold for $666.66. And there's more from this. We talked about the serpent, which is the devil, and the apple. But what about that? The dragon. Do you know who Trump is also referred to as the dragon?
China's admiration for Trump comes with an ironic twist. On social media, he's nicknamed Nation-Building Trump. Also, comments like these: "The Dragon King is coming back." The official photo of American Empire's King Trump.
We got the dragon and the king in that one, but there's more dragon references.
Best I've ever looked, and the POTUS is calling me. Mr. President!
You gonna put that on speaker for us, or what?
You are a great fighter, man. I'll tell you. You make it so easy. I don't know how the hell you do that. Congratulations. I wanted to watch that fight tonight. I wanted to watch it. You were great.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. You gave me the dragon energy when you shook my hand on Sunday at your rally. And
So the Dragon King, who just happens to be the 45th and the 47th president, which adds to that. And in that, it just happens to say his name. Abaddon, and also Apollyon, and that guy just happens to have an Apollo statue in his 66th floor penthouse. Oh, and I bet you'd be shocked that the Trump administration just happens to favor Apple, which was first sold for, again, remember, $666.66. Maybe that mark of the beast isn't going in your hand, but in your hand. But of course, all this for entertainment purposes. I don't literally think that he is the dragon, which is the serpent, which is the devil. No, of course not. That would be ridiculous. Entertainment only. You know the saying, truth in plain sight, right? Well, I want to show you the truth in this one, right in plain sight. First, I want to show you that that's actually a song of Elvis's. You're the devil in disguise. You look like an angel. You walk like an angel. Talk like an angel. But I got wise. You're the devil in disguise. Could he be talking about himself? What you first need to know about the devil, aka Lucifer, if you're not familiar with the Bible, is that he was cast out of heaven primarily due to his pride and rebellion against God because, well, he wanted to be worshipped like God instead of worshiping the Most High. So he and a third of the other fallen angels got banished down here in Earth with us. And well, if you were stuck in Earth with all of God's people, and you still wanted to be worshipped like the Most High, what better person to be than the king of rock and roll? Because there sure aren't too many people that have been worshipped as highly as Elvis. And well, do you know there are a lot of people that say that Lucifer was in charge of music in heaven before he was banished? Huh. So if you're musically inclined and you're the devil and you want to get people to worship you, why not just blend in and pretend to be one of them? But Tyler, this fall happened centuries and centuries, thousands of years ago. Elvis has just been around for decades. Oh yeah? Have you ever seen what the original Statue of Liberty looked like? A lot of people draw comparisons to how similar it looks to Elvis. And well, you know about the Statue of Liberty, right? Right? Well, there are a lot of people, myself included, that speculate that the Statue of Liberty is actually a statue of Lucifer. Because this is an actual statue of Lucifer, and well, they look alike, and they both have 7-point crowns, and they both have chains attached at the ankle, and torches, and the Statue of Liberty's in the Big Apple, and Lucifer has an apple in the statue because he was known to give the forbidden fruit. Maybe you're saying if Elvis was really Lucifer, well, where's Elvis now? He died. Wouldn't he still be around as a fallen angel that is undying? Well, yeah. Maybe he just changed his looks and identity. And instead of being worshipped as a musician, maybe he's being worshipped as a politician. Did you see what Putin gave him as a tribute? This lovely portrait that just happened to have the statue of Lucifer, Liberty, in it, doing a similar pose. But you probably don't believe me yet, so let's go back to the whole truth in plain sight thing. Let's hear it from the man himself. Are you aware that Donald Trump has posted several times of him and Elvis, comparisons of him and Elvis, a side-by-side of him and Elvis that looks suspiciously similar to one I've posted. And oh, you want to see how many likes it had? 666. Boy, that number seems familiar. Almost like it's biblical or something. And do you remember during his campaign what number you would text for him? 88 minus 22 is 66. Almost like it's biblical or something. Oh, and I bet you can't guess where Trump lived in the Trump Tower. On the 66th floor. Almost like that number's biblical or something. But he can show us this all he wants. Why don't we listen to what he has to say?
The king of rock and roll, the true king. You have to say that.
True king.
Elvis Aaron Presley.
I wonder what he means when he says the true king. Almost like he's the true king instead of God. But hang on, there's more.
Forget Donald J. Trump. Meet Donald Elvis Trump.
Elvis! We love Elvis.
But people were left feeling when the president took it a step further.
I shouldn't say this. You'll say I'm very conceited because I'm not. But other than the blonde hair, when I was growing up, they said I looked like Elvis. You see that?
So you've heard it from my mouth. You've heard it from the horse's mouth. I wonder what newscasters have to say. After all, they all know, because they all worship the devil, and they know who the devil is.
You can get down some way along with all the crowds, and he won't have that, but he will have this Capital One arena, which I think is a concert venue. So it's now going to be a kind of rally type event, I think, for Donald Trump.
Well, Donald Trump is Elvis. He likes to think of himself that way. He always plays Elvis songs during his rallies. Look, the Capital One arena is...
So I'm saying it. The horse is saying it. The newscasters are saying it. I wonder if there's any evidence of it in old TV shows.
Call me the more...
So at this point, you have a few choices. You can look right in my face through your phone or TV or whatever and say, this person's crazy. He has no sense of logic whatsoever. Or you can look at the dots I have literally laid out for you. And if those dots aren't enough for you, well then, why don't you look at these dots right there, and those dots right there, and still try to say I don't connect the dots for you. And if those still aren't enough for you, well, then why don't you look at these two? There and there and there and there. Now, at denying it at this point, I'm looking at you and saying, what's wrong with you? Are you just too imprisoned by the matrix that they have created for your reality that you can't escape it? Or are you just a doubting Thomas? But of course, all this is for entertainment purposes. I'm a satire account. I'm definitely not someone fighting for the side of good and God and doing the best I can to fight these fallen angels. Nope. Entertainment only, people. Anyone else find it strange that there aren't a whole lot of pictures of the Don in his youth? Like, literally none. There's this one and this one. And that's it. I literally looked for a long time, and these are the two that keep popping up. And you want to see something funny about these two? Let's start with this one. I decided to run it through an AI detecting app, and the results I got were quite interesting. Likely created by AI, a 51% chance of it. Why would that be? Why would that be? Oh, but this one is even better, because I also ran this one through the AI detecting app, and there was only a 3% chance that that's a real photo. It's likely created by AI. And I asked that again. Why would this be? Well, you know who has tons of childhood photos? Yeah, you guessed it. Elvis. Elvis has a lot of them. A lot of them that pass the AI test. That's a real photo. And there are lots of real photos from childhood to teenage years. There's a lot. Yet literally just 2 that I can find of that guy. And it's funny how he always talks about how people tell him he looks like Elvis. Well, I wonder if Elvis left us any clues back in the day when he was doing his acting.
He wants me to go back to school. Oh, sit down. What does he want you to be? Well, he used to talk about me becoming president. But I think he gave up on that idea.
Excuse me, baking powder. Could you say that again?
Well, he used to talk about me becoming president. But I think he gave up on that idea.
I wonder if they know something that we don't. Well, you don't, but I do.
King of rock and roll, Elvis. Elvis! We love Elvis. I shouldn't say this. You'll say I'm very conceited, because I'm not. But other than the blonde hair, when I was growing up, they said I looked like Elvis. You see that? Did you believe it? I always consider that a great compliment. We love Elvis, don't we? They said I looked like Elvis. You see that? Did you believe it? I always consider that a great compliment. We love Elvis, don't we?
And of course, this has all been for your entertainment purposes. I create these things out of thin air, and there's no seriousness to them. I mean, so what that there aren't tons and tons of photos of him, and the ones that there are when he was a child are AI created. I mean, that proves nothing, just like it doesn't prove anything that they have the exact same ear and marks, and that his face can literally transition seamlessly to his face. Exact bone structure, nose placement, eye placement, mouth placement, total coincidence. They're definitely not just fallen angels who reincarnate here century after century with this same face over and over again and manipulate our reality so much that you think you're living on a spinning ball that wasn't created by God. And that's the whole point, is they want you to disobey and turn your back on God. That's their revenge. Entertainment only. Oh, and if you want to know how that guy fits into this whole story, well, go subscribe, whatever platform you're on, because they won't allow it to get out to the public. But it's in my subscription, and it's maybe the most important video mind-blowing, mind-altering, world-changing video I've ever made, and you should go check it out.
Thank you guys for watching, and I just want to leave you with a message of hope, because I know this is some pretty heavy, these are some heavy topics, and I know a lot of my friends and family have trouble even hearing 2 seconds of it. So if you sat through this whole video, an hour of, depressing material, well, I applaud you. But I just want to leave you with this message of hope. Remember who the real king is, and that is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He is the truth, the way, and the life. Trust in him, have faith in him, and everything will be okay. Thank you guys. God bless you, and good night.